Yeah, the three.
Yeah, so
Three-card trick.
yeah, so Brendan, so you need a woman that'll stand for the 3-card trick. You love her, you love your boxing, and you love boxing as much as she's got to understand that. And I know it sounds really draconian and really old school mentality, but you don't want to be having the hassle going out there and doing the job. And I used to try and always keep the two separate. And when I'm at home, I'm Johnny, I'm a husband, I'm a dad, or whatever. And then once I step out the door to go boxing, that is my thing. Don't be telling me wear those shorts or wear those bandages or do this or do that, because I boxed before I met you and I boxed after. So therefore, that's your responsibility, because as a fighter, it's the most dangerous place you can be in the ring. Now, if you are getting ears ache or somebody trying to tell you what you should or shouldn't be doing, I don't know what they're talking about your trainer, you're a fool, because the only person that's going to catch a beating is you. The only person that's going to get hurt is you. So you've got to be selfish enough, and I know you've got to be selfish enough to think, right, this is my priority when I do my job. I love you. This is what I do. This is my priority. If I benefit, we benefit. You know, and you've got to take the lead to say, look, this is what I do. We all benefit if I get this right. You don't know it unless you're in the job. You know the boxing, you know the training, you know the diet, you know how hard it is. Unless you know more than me, don't be telling me what I should and what I shouldn't be doing, what I can and what I can't do. Don't give me a hard time when I'm always in the gym. Don't give me a hard time when I'm having to train on Christmas Day because I've got a fight at the end of January. You know, and you've got to be selfish to draw that line point blank straight away. Because if you don't, I've seen fighters' careers ruined because they're trying to play the fiddle for both people. Damn. You know, you've seen fighters that let relationships twist them up, and then when they finish fighting and the relationship's done, they think, "What was I doing?" You know, and so you've got to. To me, in my head, I thought, "How much do you want it enough?" Right, this is what I'm doing. This is my job. Now, if you've got a good woman or man behind you supporting you, they will understand and they will get in. They will support you to high heaven, because you win, they win. You lose, they lose. If it's bad, they don't call their name, they call your name. And that's where the problem is. So it isn't easy. And it just is. I can remember Brendan was telling us about, he was going to a show in London. And one of the guys are fighting, I won't say his name, and his woman wanted to come to the show. They all crammed in the car. And he's saying, no, come on, sit on my lap. She was sat in his lap all the way down from Sheffield to London. Man was fighting that night, you know.
What about his legs?
Man was fighting that night. He got there, Bren, I'm knackered, Bren. And Brendan's like, why did you bring her? You know, and it was no disrespect to his woman, but there was not enough space in the car. And because he wanted to keep her sweet and keep her happy, so she only brought me to the fight. You know, he sat there, he lost, he got stopped actually. You know, it's silly things like that. You've got to be serious, because boxing the only place you can legally get killed. You can't take chance something. I better do this just to make it feel sweet. This is what you've got to do. And so it's hard to maintain a relationship. So a lot of guys, they just try to, you see these fights around, most of them are in relationships. Most of them have got families, but you don't see their families here. You don't see them here because they get it. They think, you know what, this is what I do. Just be here.
The woman in me, do they get it, or are they trying to have both bites of the cherry? Sorry, I've got to ask.
Yeah, I know. Because the women ask as well. The women ask as well. And then what I'm saying to you is this: the road life is there, but you've got to think to yourself, which one is more important? And so if you're the fighter, even though the benefits are the road life, thinking, well, I can get away with this. At the end of the day, the reason why you're doing it is that, and you can't have the road life and the wife and the game, because eventually the one that's going to suffer the most is the game's going to suffer. So if your focus is the boxing, no matter what, the road life's there. And you've just got to have a woman that's like, she's got to be there to support you. And you've got to be there to make it say, look, we're good here. We're all right. This is my job. That's what I do. It's hard because you've got a lot of young men and women that are athletes that are, it sounds glamorous. It ain't. I've boxed all over the world. South Africa, Australia, New Zealand, Thailand. I've been all over the world. I saw on paper it looks good. It's boring as hell. When you're in a hotel room, you're in your hotel room, you go down, you train, you go for a walk, you come back to your room. Passport looks great, but it's boring and it's lonely. You understand? It's lonely, but you can't. And when I saw it saying lonely, I was right, bring your wife and kids with you. No, you can't do that, because you've got to rest your mind, focus and rest yourself as much as you can. So it's such a fine balance that people, they don't understand. So therefore, some fighters that prefer, I don't want a relationship. I don't want a relationship because I don't want the hassle of what you're doing there. Hold on, that's happening there. Aye, what's happening? You don't want the hassle. So you're going to bend over backwards to prove something that you haven't got to prove, or to prove something that you are doing or aren't doing, or you just think, I don't want the hassle. But I always think you need somebody that's going to have you, that's going to make sure your stability is good, your home, your base, where you're coming from. Because I know fighters that were good fighters, but you know they easily fell off the rails because they had no stability there for them.
I think I can agree with that, and I can see it to some point. I think sometimes I try and put myself in a fighter's shoes after speaking to, you know, former champions, fighters that are on the way, or champions now. And I think personally, I would not be in a relationship, because that would be like, I want to be a world champion.
Yeah.
No one is coming in the way. I'd have my little.
But it's lonely. It's lonely.
Yeah, but you can have your little weekend.
Yeah.
Your little, you know, your little friend that comes and helps you out on the weekend. Sorry to be vulgar.
Yeah.
But I don't think I'd have. If I was a fighter, I'd have a relationship.
Saying it is easier than actually being it. And some fighters are like that. Some are like, I don't want no serious relationship. You know, they know I've seen it happen before. I won't get in a serious relationship as far as I'm concerned, because I've seen it happen before. So whether that woman is, she might think she's in a serious relationship. He's thinking, that's my priority. You can think what you want. That's my priority. You've got to be selfish. That's just how it is. And it's not just boxing though, but I think boxing, because it's so unique.
Niche.
Yeah, it's so unique.
Yeah.
As I said, it's the only place you can legally get killed. So if you get it wrong, it hurts. And if things go wrong, your name's the only name they're calling. They're not calling the rest of the team. You know, they're not. If things go wrong, you know, everybody's there. Things go right, everybody's there. The sun's out, tapping the back. Yes, we did it. Things go wrong, everybody gone back into the shade, and you're stood there like, you know, and that's how it is. I've seen it too many times. It's bad. It's bad. So I get the attitude of some fighters that apparently hard work because they know their value and they know when it's good, and when it's bad, it's bad. I get the attitude of, but it's hard to do. It's hard to be that kind of shit to people. But you know what? Now the tides are turning where fighters are actually getting their worth. Fighters are getting paid, and I love it. I love it. And not the only crime you can't get punished for is jealous and envy, right? And I love it because what these guys are getting paid now, I didn't get paid that kind of money. My first purse was £160.
Dear God,
fighter.
Dear God, when was that? 1970 something.
Yeah. but then because I wasn't expected to do anything. Man was signing £1 million contracts. I wasn't that guy. But I didn't come from an illustrious amateur career. So I was that guy that he's a filler. He was a filler. So I had to fight my way through the ranks. But what I'm saying is, when you see this and you see fighters getting paid the money getting paid, I love it. I love it because I know for a fact, I know too many fighters that have given their heart and soul and are broke. I know too many fighters that have given their heart and soul that are in hospital. They can't tie their shoelaces. They can't string two words together. So now this generation of fighters are monetizing who they are, and they're getting as much as they can so they can buy the house and own the house, buy a car and own the car. They can live a comfortable life. And if they invest it right, buy a couple of houses, rent the houses out, or whatever, they're all right. And so they're all right if they do it right. You know, but there's a difference between there and there. So when I hear about these big purses fighters getting, great. It's like Tyson Fury the other day. He was negotiating a 70-30 split. Regardless of how much of a shit or greedy you call him, he negotiated a good purse for himself.
But did he negotiate that to not want the fight anyway? I mean, come on.
But either way, initially he got it. You know, so it's the stuff that happened after that will raise that question. But either way, you got to negotiate as much as you can. Or if you don't want the job, you're going to outprice yourself out of the job, which is why it fell by the wayside, as far as I'm concerned. But when I fight, because the money's got to come from somewhere. You understand? So it's big money. So say, for instance, and this is all make-believe. Say, for instance, Usyk said, I want no less than 10 million. And Tyson Fury said, I want a 70-30 split. So no matter what, he's going to get paid 10 million. And he's going to get 7%, you know, down to that. So 10 million is going to be 30. I don't know whatever he was getting. Say he wanted 30 million. So Tyson Fury gets 70 mil. You know, that's how it got. And so he made sure whoever was paying, he was getting paid.
He was getting it, be nice
He
anyway.
was getting paid, yeah.
but that fight by the wayside. I haven't really touched on that because to me, you know, the last time I thought when Tyson Fury was going to fight Anthony Joshua, it was even there on.
Don't you think there's a coincidence? Don't you think there's a coincidence? So Tyson Fury, and again, I've said to everybody, I think Tyson Fury beat Alexander Usyk. But the thing is, I don't think Tyson Fury did the way this has gone about.
Okay.
Because I think negotiations are he's priced himself out of the fight. Now maybe the rumours are that he has got an injury, but he don't want to say it, so he's priced himself out.
No, the injury's been mentioned before.
Yeah. So or maybe the Saudi Arabia connection is there, so he's thinking, you know, I'll nudge this a bit, and he's happy to take the slick and the stick and the rubbish that guys like me are saying. You know, you price yourself out of the fight, or maybe he did price himself out of the fight. But I just think it's happened before. The usual suspects are Tyson Fury. And so, and then what happened, a couple of times you've seen a confliction between what he said and what his management had said. So they're not talking to him, or he's let his mouth run away with itself. And then, and again, it's that passive persuasion. If he does his public negotiation, you do this and you get that. And so the whole public know about it. So the whole public is saying, yeah, you're a wanker, Tyson.
But it's forced. It's forced.
Yeah.
Team Usyk to back out because they're like, I just can't deal with this.
Exactly. But,
and then now it's spawned now.
Yeah.
Oh, it's Usyk. He didn't want it.
Yeah. That's how they're trying to twist it all up. But the thing is, who's the usual suspect? You know what I mean? So you're thinking, come on, how many more times are you going to try and get away with it?
Common denominator.
Yeah. So, but it's part of the hustle. And when he's retired and he's good. His children are good, his grandkids are good, his great-great-grandkids are good. It's because he negotiated hard. I was there when he beat Klitschko. I was there the days coming up to it when he said to Klitschko, I'm going home. No fights coming on. Klitschko's like, because Klitschko, the canvas, I think, was like 4-5 inch thick.
He was being awkward, wasn't he?
He was being as awkward as hell. And Klitschko, they saw it. Klitschko's the god now. He's the man. But they already saw it, so they can't slip somebody else in. So Tyson Fury was like, take that off, I'm going home. He bullshitted and bluffed enough that he believed him. We're going home. We're not doing it. He wasn't going anywhere. But he bluffed them enough, so they said, all right, we'll take it out. So straight away, that's round 1-1. He is the master at mental warfare, Tyson Fury. He's the master at it because he's willing to lose that side of it. He's willing to lose that side of it. But because he shouts loud, because he's like, and you think it's believable because he looks angry, he's like, you think, shit, I better give him what he wants. You know, and that he's the master at it. You know, warfare starts 3 months before the fight. Before the fight starts.
Of course it does.
That's right. And he's twisted a lot of them. And most of them there, and you've got to remember, with Tyson Fury, he'll talk like, I'm willing to lose. You know, we'll play Russian roulette. I'm willing to lose. He's going to make you believe he's willing to lose. So you think, nah. And Usyk's team are like, you know what? No.
Yeah, they just said,
we're done with that.
They just said, forget it.
Yeah. And so Usyk's team are basically saying, you are not the only rainbow. You know, you can't say to me where else you're going to get that kind of money. You know
who I feel sorry for, though?
Go on.
Frank Warren. He must be pulling his hair out.
Why would you feel sorry for him? Frank gets paid a lot of money.
No, it's not about money. It's about the stress of trying to save face and get the fight to happen.
You know what? Well, that's what I'm saying. If you're going to make excuses up for
he's going to back his fighter, though.
Yeah.
He's got to.
And you can't tell me it's the first time it's happened.
No, well, it isn't, is it?
So therefore, he's got to work with him. But Frank's he's old school. He's worked with all of them. He's worked with fighters. Yes. He said once to me, I have to do business sometimes with people I don't like, but it's business.
That is some good advice, you know.
It's business.
How do you do that?
Because I
do
think
business with people that in another world you'd probably take their head off.
Because I think
this is a personal question.
I think don't take it personal unless you know them personally. You understand?
Yeah.
I don't know you, so whatever you said to me today, cool. I'm gone. I'm gone to my business. When I'm done, don't take it personal. I just get business. I'm here to do a job. My job is this, and my job is to do the X, Y, Z. You're part of that journey to do that job. Now I've done the job. I don't have to lie here. I've got to smile and do the job. As soon as it's done, gone. Do my job. You've got to do business with people you don't like. So sometimes, if you let your personality, zoom, you've got to think, no. And that's what I'm saying. It's like, and I always say it again. If a crocodile's there and you put your hand in its mouth, what's a crocodile going to do? It's going to bite your hand off. No reason to hate the crocodile because that's its nature.
Instinct.
That's what it does. So what you're thinking is, I'll not put my hand in its mouth. I'll not move with that crocodile because I'll never my hand off. So basically, if you're working with people that are going to snatch your hand off and do shitty things, that's their nature. That's who they are. So what you do is when you're working, you work, do your job. When it's out, you're out of there. You're gone. So you can't complain about someone's nature. That's what they do. So you're going to come across a lot of crocodiles. So you just think, don't hate on them because that's a waste of your energy. Don't make them the issue. You just think, that's your nature. Feel sorry for them, that's your nature. I'm in, I'm out. And then if you drop it like that, you can work with anybody.
That indifference is a quality that I'm learning as I go along. I think the thing that benefits us is we're older. So we've probably been through different things in life that help us to think.
It was like when Liam Smith was fighting Eubank.
Oh yeah.
And it was the insinuation that
the wife.
About him saying, I've never seen you with a woman. Trying to insinuate. Now with age, I know what would have said. As a young man, Chris dealt with it how he dealt with it. In the press conference, I'd have just said, and what if I am gay? Then it puts it back on Liam's and he's like, shit.
Probably shouldn't have said that.
If you're comfortable in your sexuality, if you're gay or straight, it don't matter, but you put it back onto the person that's trying to.
But why in this day and age is sexuality even important anyway? Why does it even matter?
I think Liam was just trying to weaponize and just trying to put Chris on the back foot. I don't think he's homophobic. I think a lot of people were trying to make out as though he was homophobic. He didn't actually say anything that was hated. He just tried to embarrass that man. Thought he can embarrass that man into exposing something he's been trying to hide, But he didn't say anything about gays. He didn't say anything like that. What he did was he just tried to weaponize what he thought Chris was trying to hide. It's part of the game.
Yeah,
that was it.
Sometimes I think people can take things too literally. Like I said, we're in this world where you've got to be so careful on what you say. I actually construes whatever as well.
I had some guy inbox me, long message he sent me, and he said he was really disappointed in my comments about what Liam said. And I thought, and usually most people I just ignore it because they want to. I thought, let me have a debate with this guy because I believe in what I'm saying. And if I'm saying it, if it's not politically correct or not, at least if you ask me, I'm going to tell you. Don't ask me if you don't want the information. So my conversation was, well, what did he say that was hateful? What did he say that offended you? What did he say about the gay community that offended you? So when I'm explaining these two young men that were insanely angry and involved and bitter with each other, were trying to get in under each other's skin, and then he tried to twist it around. Wonder if it was a black thing. He said, but what black thing did he say? He didn't even say no gay thing. He said, I've not seen you with a woman. What I'm saying, there was no hatred said there. He just tried to put him under pressure, and get under his skin. Now, I'm not correcting what. I'm not averse or understand exactly how the conversation should be had. But the conversation to me was a common sense conversation. And the one thing about common sense is it's not that common.
I was about to say that's as rare as rocking.
And so therefore you're not gonna frighten me in not saying certain things because it's like we're going off and off. It's like the Black Lives Matter situation. You've got a lot of white people that didn't say anything because they were scared of what they said might come across as racist. Certain people did say stuff and it came across as racist. Certain people just didn't know. So you're going to have an element of people. If you don't know, you don't know. If you don't ask the question, you're never going to know the answer. If you're not going to have those uncomfortable conversations, you're never going to know the answer. So therefore, initial conversations have to be had to say, well, that's the right thing to say, that's the wrong thing to say. All right, I get it now. Now I know. But whenever it was mentioned, you got an element of people thinking, oh, fuck's sake, this again.
But this is what happens, and we can have a whole debate on racism, but this is what happens. As soon as that word is brought up, people start rolling their eyes.
Yeah, but why do you
start puffing and puffing? Yeah. Because it's a subject that's been swept under the carpet for so long. Like you said, those uncomfortable conversations have not been had that people just, when you ignore something, you begin to dislike it and then it turns into hate. Yeah. That is that whole subject. And I'm not even going to touch on it because we could be here for
and that's what I'm saying. But what I'm saying to you, I'll give you a little example. There was a cameraman. I've known this man for years. He hadn't got a racist bone in his body. He's old school. And he was telling a story about when we all went to Boston and we were doing a show. And one of the guys, Charles, big 6'5" black guy, but he's trying to, he's like a cameraman, the artist, he wants to set the scene, he wants to tell you how light it was and who was there, this, that, and the other. And then he started telling the story. We were filming at my house, and he said, "Johnny, quick word." He went, "Can I just ask you something?" Because now he's panicking now. "Just tell me, can I say black or coloured? Because I want to be polite, I want to be respectful. So I want to say coloured." And I started laughing, because my mum used to say, "The coloured boy over there." My mum used to say it. But it's a generational thing.
Of course it is.
And so I said, "Yo, listen to me. Do not say coloured. Don't say coloured. Say black. Say black." And he said, "I feel a bit uncomfortable saying black. Say black because it's not like it was." So because he asked the question, he knew the answer. So what if he innocently started saying, "Oh, this coloured lad," people are like, "You fuck, what about that?" You know what I mean? He asked the question because he wanted to make sure he wasn't offending anybody or using the right terminology. Certain people don't ask the question or say nothing, and they look like, because they've said nothing and they don't know what to say, they look like they're racist. But they just don't know what to say because they don't want to be accused of being racist. He asked the question because he thought, "I want to get the right terminology here. I'm not going to leave it. I just want to tell the story." So what? And I respected that. And I thought, regardless if it was needed or not, at least he knows better.
Yeah, absolutely. And he had, he came and asked you the question, but this is what I'm saying. He is in that predicament because of these uncomfortable conversations have not taken place.
Yeah.
But kudos to him for doing that.
Because, I rated him. I know he's a good man with a good heart.
I don't want to piss anybody off.
Yeah.
I usually say this, but is it okay? And that's fine.
Yeah.
But that just shows that the deeper thing, the thing to racism is the lack of understanding.
Yeah, of course.
And
but it's about education. But it's about exactly. It works both ways.
I know that.
Because you've got an element of black men and women that will jump on you for saying fart, for saying the smallest thing. "Oh, you're racist." Like, come on, man. If you're gonna have that conversation, make sure it's a conversation where you haven't got people scared of even actually asking a question, because there would have been an element of people, if he'd have come and asked me that, they'd have blown up, "Why the blood?" and cussed him out. Now it's about education. Now, and it's a hard subject, but the problem is this starts from kids, starts from school, starts from the education at school.
It starts from parenting.
Yeah, from parenting.
It's taught.
When I was at school, and you remember it's a Catholic school, and it's coming to Christmas. There's me and the teacher's daughter. We were painting the little statues, Mary, Jesus, and Joseph, and all this sort of stuff. We're getting it ready because it's coming up to Christmas and everything. I picked up Jesus. I started painting Jesus brown. And when I started painting, "Oh my God, Johnny, you've ruined it!" The girl's crying. "You've ruined it!" And I'm like thinking, "What are you talking about?" And I'm a kid, so I'm not even trying to be controversial. I'm looking at it as a child's eye. A man from a hot country, painting in brown. "You've ruined it! You've ruined it!" So the teacher, "You two, come here. What's happened?" And so she's saying, not Miss, "Mom, he's ruined it. We've done all this work and he's gone and painted Jesus brown." Teacher looked at me and I looked at her and went, "Well, what? He is brown. He's from a hot country." "No, he's not." Nah, the teacher knows. She knows.
But where did the daughter get it from?
Yeah. But not just the daughter. You look at images of Jesus. You look at the stories of Jesus. Look at the pictures of Jesus. Look at it. He's a white guy, right? So and her mum could have actually educated her there and then. I said, stop. And actually educated the whole class to say, actually, this is the debate we need to be having. And let's talk about this. But instead, and I'm saying, well, he's from a hot country. He's not going to be white. He's got to be brown. Even if he's not black, he's got to be brown, isn't it? So she's saying, "Johnny, shut up." Yeah, but next day, blah, slapped her on the face.
Bloody hell.
"Shut up." Because their daughter was crying.
Oh, dear.
I'm like, "Ross." I went and sat down in the class. I must have been about 7. Okay. Sat in the class, day had gone on. Got home that night, my mum said, as usual, "I'm school today, blah, tell her about school, blah." And then I said, "Oh, this morning, Mrs. Blah did this." And I seen my mum just like, "What?" She sat there, she went quiet, "Tell me, go on." And I'm just telling the story as I'm eating.
Yeah.
Just telling the story, and that was it.
Day.
Yeah. And that was it. Next day, we're going to school. Mum walked me to school. We got to the gate. Usually when I get to the gate and I walk through the gate, I see Mum turn around. She's walking back down the hill. This time, Mum still stood at the gate. And I waved, and she's still there. I'm like, all right. And I went inside. But no, I did. I thought she was talking to the parents. I forgot about the conversation. I forgot about the conversation we had yesterday. Yeah, and what I'm with the teacher. To me, gone. Went in class. She's doing the register. The teacher's doing the register. Next minute, boom, the door kicked open. My mum walked into class. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to get in right trouble. It's my mum. I felt so embarrassed. All the kids like, scream, mum. And I felt like I was going to get done because my mum, I still didn't know what she was there for. I thought, when your mum comes in and bangs, she said, Johnny, come here, I'm why you for something. I thought, mum, boom, kick the door open, walk straight to the front of class. Did you put your hand in my child's face? She went, blah. Before she could answer, blah. Don't ever put your hand in my child's head. I don't even put my child in my hand's head. But to her again. All the kids are screaming now. Their daughter's crying. I'm like, I thought, Mum, no, please, Mum, stop. Clapped her 3 times. All the side of her face was red. Mum, and next minute, the sister, because it was a run by nuns, the school, but there were 1 or 2 teachers there were nuns. Sister Catherine came down. She came down. What's going on here? And Mum said, ask her. So Sister Catherine took him out of the classroom, just outside the door, because all the kids are screaming now. Just seen a woman teacher get bucks. And I'm like, oh God. Sister Catherine pulled us out of the class. So she asked me what happened yesterday. And I'm thinking, she asked me, so I thought it was the fact that she slapped me in my head. It was just that the fact that she slapped me. It was a whole situation, it was a whole story of this teacher was in a position to educate and fulfill and make the kids ask questions. Schools teach you to remember.
Yeah.
Brendan taught you to think. So she was in a position to make us think. But she wanted to go with this narrative. Then bucks me for having an innocent point of view. And so Sister Catherine like, you two go back in class. And then they were still out there, been about 10 minutes later. And the teacher come back in, didn't want to say anything. Teacher come back in. Thing was forgotten about. That was it. It was forgotten about. And they knew they got it wrong. And that's what I'm talking about. The whole point of this is, if you educate kids from young about what's wrong and right, and I don't mean bash people because they don't know, no, bash people because of something that happened 400 years ago. You've got to understand, you look at an atlas now, look at the size of America to Africa. Where in reality, America fits into the Sahara Desert. But you look on the atlas, Africa's that big, America's that big.
You can say the same about the size of the UK on the map as well.
Yeah, but what I'm saying to you is, history is written by the history makers. Right? Even that line alone, you check it out, America fits into the Sahara Desert. And look at the map. Look at the map of the world. And this is what I'm saying. There's so many things that have been twisted, that have been misplaced, whereas now we're suffering the consequences for the lies. And so now there's going to be a big upheaval in regards to fixing these things right. They should have fixed the atlas a long time ago. You should have done it right a long time ago. You should change the narrative about Africa just not being a place of people in famine and flies crawling on your ear and bits of dry crusty slaver in your mouth. Africa's a beautiful place, but because the image they give that is given around the world is so wrong, the narrative is so wrong, there needs to be a whoa. But the book's got to stop somewhere. Who do you blame for that?
At the end of the day, whoever's in control, and I think we can kind of like end it there because we've both got a busy few hours ahead of us. Whoever is in control writes the story.
Yeah, but leadership,
that's just the way it is.
But leadership now, there's really no leadership, is there? You look at leadership, and the people that we think are the leaders are not actually the leaders.
There is that.
Yeah. So
there's layers to this. Yeah. But like I said, in your house, when you tell the story, it's your story. Mm-hmm. There may be another side to that story, but those that are in your house will never hear that because it's your story. And that's the same thing we have in history. It's whoever.
When I did my book, I said this is. I made a passage. This is how I saw it.
Absolutely.
From my point of view, and that was in the book.
You've got a book.
Yeah, that was in the book. Jeez, that was in the book, and I made sure the passage was in. This is how I saw it through my eyes. Just basically saying, if anybody saw it differently, there was stuff afterwards. My sister said, "No, Johnny, what about this? What about that?" And I'm like, "Well, that's what I remember. I saw it through my eyes." And that way, that was me covering myself for things I might have got wrong. Get the book, man. Hard Road to Glory.
Hi, and thank you for watching October Red Boxing. Like, subscribe, and tap the bell for notifications. You can also find us on Instagram at October Red Boxing and on Twitter, October Red UK. And remember, At October Red, we stay ready.